Ladies and gentle gamers, welcome back to To Be Determined. Today is day 2 of the Pest update, and we got some things to go over. A lot has been discovered since yesterday, and I've got some good money making methods here. So if you guys learned something or you enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's jump straight into it. Today we're going to be going over the different pests and all of their drops, and basically the main ones to go for and how to get them. And the main ways we're going to be focusing on getting more of these guys is 1 with this new sprayinator item and what type of spray to use, and 2 with this new perk, bonus pest chance. There are a lot of ways to get bonus pest chance, so we're going to start off by going over that. Basically what bonus pest chance does is whenever your cooldown is up to spawn a pest and you do spawn a pest, there's a chance you'll spawn an extra pest. So you can spawn 2 pests at the same time, or even 3 if you have enough pest chance. So the way that you get pest chance is from talking to Philip here. You can see his Pest Hunters Wares page where you can get bonus pest chance from these accessories. They do have requirements for how many pests you have given him. So after you've done 250 total pests, you can buy the max one to get 60% bonus pest chance. And if you're using a spray, you can get another 50 bonus pest chance from this. You can also get it from the wriggling larvae. These guys are pretty expensive. They drop from moth, but you can get up to 10 bonus pest chance from these. And you can also get them from the Pesterminator book right here. It drops from beetles and it gives 2 pest chance per level. So if you have level 5 on your entire equipment, which I don't really recommend doing right now, it's pretty expensive, but if you do that, you can get another 40 pest chance. There is actually one more upgrade as well with the slug pet. At level 100, you can get up to 40 bonus pest chance. So you can actually get to exactly 200 bonus pest chance if you have all of the upgrades required. And that's literally every single bonus pest chance in the game. But that setup is pretty expensive. Gonna run you closer to 1 billion coins. Not quite that much, but pretty close. So if you're cheap like me, I recommend just using a sprayinator and getting these pest badge talismans from Mr. Phillip here as you reach the milestones. Now we're going to talk about which sprays make the most money. So if you look on the bazaar in the garden section here, you can see all the new sprays here. There's only 5. So there's the honey jar, which costs about 1 million coins, plant matter, which costs 870,000, tasty cheese, which is only 3,000, dung, which is 500k, and compost, which is about 20k. So you'd think the expensive one would be the best one, and it's good, but it's not quite the best. Honey jars attract moths and cricket, which moths can drop wriggling larvae, but it's pretty low drop rate of 0.5%, and if you do drop one, that's about 20 mil, which is nice, but there are more expensive drops that you can get. You can also get crickets from using honey jars, which drop chirping stereos. Now this is the 3rd best item that you can drop currently, and it is really nice. It's used for the final upgrade over here for your vacuum, and it gives the stereo harmony ability, which plays vinyls at a frequency only pests can hear. Certain pests are more likely to appear when certain vinyls are playing, so this will help you attract the pests that drop the more expensive drops, so it can be really useful. However, if you don't drop one yourself, it's going to cost you 65 million coins to get your hands on one. So if you don't have money to throw at this, that's okay. This isn't required. But again, honey jars is only the 2nd best item to use. It is the most expensive one. However, in my opinion, the best item to use is going to be plant matter. It attracts locusts and slugs, which locusts have a chance to drop Sunder 6 books, which are currently 20 million coins, and they do drop pretty rarely, only a 0.5% chance, but it's the same chance that you have to get wriggling larvae from moths and the chirping stereo from crickets. But the real thing that is going to make plant matter really nice to have is going to be the slug. It attracts not only locusts but slugs, and slugs have a chance to drop slug pet, which slug pets are pretty expensive. If you get an epic one, it's 52.5 million, but if you get really lucky and get your hands on a legendary, that's 80 million. However, the legendaries are one of the rarest drops from Pests. I think it is the rarest drop at 0.1% chance, but again, it's 80 million coins, and the epic pet has the same drop rate as all the other drops that we've talked about. So if you completely removed the legendary pet from the drop pool, then yes, honey jars would be better, but plant matter costs a little bit less, and it does give the chance for that extra 30 million coin difference between an epic pet and a legendary pet. So that's the one that I'm going to be using the most. Now there are a few other options. We have dung here that you can buy for about 500k. It attracts beetles and flies, which beetles are pretty good. This is the one that I've gotten drops from so far. You can get the Pestterminator book at a really high drop rate of 3.5%. That's 7 times more likely than any of the other drops we've talked about. Now, of course, with that higher drop rate, the drops aren't going to be as expensive. It's about 9 million coins right now. But if you were to drop 7 of these, that's the same amount of money as dropping 1 chirping stereo from a cricket. And that higher drop rate makes these a lot more consistent drops. They are still really rare, but it is a good option. And it would almost be enough for me to say that dung is going to be one of the better crops to use. However, the other pest that it attracts is the fly. And the fly has pretty terrible drop. It drops beady eyes or tightly tied hay bales, and there is a chance that you get both from the same one, but that's pretty rare. Tightly tied hay bales are about 1 million coins, and it's the same for beady eyes, so the fly really ruins using dung as your main spray. Now, there are a few more options. Compost is going to be probably your worst option, honestly. It attracts earthworms, which have a chance to drop Bookworm's favorite book. It's a 2% drop rate, which is pretty high compared to the other drops, but those books go for about 5 million coins right now, so they're not crazy. The other mob that compost attracts is the mosquito, and these guys have even worse drops. It's a 1% chance to get clipped wing, which currently is about 3.5 million. So compared to all those other drops, it's pretty rough. Now, you'd think that seeing as tasty cheese is the lowest price, that rats and mites would be pretty terrible, and you'd be right when you're talking about rats. These guys have a chance to drop legendary rat pet, which is about 1.2 million coins at a 0.2% drop rate. That's pretty terrible, but the mites actually have a pretty good drop. It is a 0.25% drop chance, which is the 3rd rarest chance behind the legendary slug pet and legendary rat pet, but these atmospheric filters go for a pretty penny. They're currently 100 million coins, and it is a really nice upgrade as well. Definitely worth 100 mil in my opinion. You can see all of these upgrades that it gives. Very, very nice. So if you don't have the money to spend 1 million coins every half hour on plant matter or honey jars so that you can spray your plots, then tasty cheese is going to be a pretty good option, because you do have a chance to get this from the mite. Now, again, these sprays unfortunately don't guarantee that you're going to get the mobs that the spray attracts. You're just more likely to get those mobs, but it does not guarantee it. Again, if you do have a chirping stereo, then you can increase the odds even more by using the correct vinyl for the mob that you're trying to catch, which mites is a pretty good one, but personally I'd recommend using the slug or the cricket while also using either plant matter or honey jars. My strategy is going to be using plant matter while also using a slug vinyl once I get the money to pay for it, because again, chirping stereo, pretty expensive. This leads us to the question of how you should be spraying. So you can see my plots here. I have 5 length plots that go all the way down from one end of my island to the other. I know a lot of people have their plots set up differently, so mega farm style, where you have them all stacked on top of each other a little bit more, which is also really good. And if you are grinding solely for pests, then that's probably going to be the better way to do it, because again, you can only apply the spray to 1 plot at a time per fuel that you spray. So if I wanted to apply honey jars to this entire row of crops as I'm farming, that would cost me 5 million coins every half hour, which is definitely not worth it. So what I've been doing is, if I want to spawn more pests, then I'll come down to one of these 2 wide plots and I'll only spray one of these. So that'll make it a lot easier for me to spawning these pests in, because the way this spray works grants an extra pest chance when breaking crops in a sprayed plot, and pests are 2 times more likely to spawn in sprayed plots. So I'm more likely to spawn pests when I'm farming in the plot that I sprayed. So if I do it in one of these plots that are shorter, then I'm gonna be over in this plot that I sprayed 50% of the time, instead of if I sprayed in this one where I'm only in the plot that I sprayed 20% of the time. If you do want to farm in one of these big 5 length plot, then I would recommend spraying in the middle, because that's the one you're going to be hitting the most, at least the most frequently. So if I'm going to be farming this way and I go all the way down to this end and then back, the middle one is going to be the one that I will hit the most frequently. Whereas if I sprayed down here, then I've got to come all the way down to this end and then go all the way back before I spray in the final plot. Whereas if I spray in the final plot down over here, then I'll be over there for longer, but if my 2.5 minute cooldown is not hit while I'm down here, then I've got to wait until I come all the way back from going down the row again before I hit this plot again to try and spawn another pet. So from my experience, spraying in the middle plot is going to be your best strategy if you're doing a big 5-row plot like this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was how you make the most money from pests. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, And if I missed something, make sure to leave me a comment. Also, if you enjoyed the music, be sure to check out the links in the description. I wrote it myself, so it really does help out. And thank you so much for watching to the end. I hope y'all have an amazing rest of your day, and I will catch you in the next one. God bless.